the Art of Leadership Network.
Well, hey, leaders, welcome to the LeadCulture Podcast. I'm your host, Jenni Catron, CEO of the Foresight Group. We are a company dedicated to helping leaders develop thriving teams. Each week, I'm your guide as we explore practical strategies to equip you with the tools you need to lead with clarity, confidence, and build unstoppable momentum in your organization. My mission is to be your trusted coach, empowering you to master the art of self-leadership so you'll learn to lead yourself well, to lead others better. Each week, we take a deep dive on a leadership or a culture topic. You'll hear stories from amazing guests and leaders like you who are committed to leading well. So let's dive in and keep learning on this leadership journey together. Today, we are talking about the first phase of the LeadCulture Framework, which is all about assessing where we are. And assessing culture as a leader means being willing to get painfully honest. It means asking, what kind of culture have I actually created? Not the one I even hope for. Not the one I've written in values on the wall, but the one my team is actually living and experiencing every day. And this step takes a lot of courage. It's not just an organizational checkup, it's personal. Because culture begins with leadership. And often, assessing our culture starts with assessing ourselves. In today's conversation, we're pulling back the curtain on what it really looks like when a leader chooses to do the hard, vulnerable work of getting honest about their culture and takes the first step towards something better. So, guys, to dive into this conversation today, I am thrilled to welcome a good friend of mine, Adam Weber. Adam is a born and raised South Dakotan. I don't think I knew that was even a way to say that. Is that right?
That is correct.
It is correct. I told somebody the other day, Wisconsinite, and they were like, oh, you say Wisconsinite? And I was like, we do. We say Wisconsinite. At least I do. But South Dakota. And you are the lead pastor of Embrace Church. Adam's the author of 2 books, Talking with God and Love Has a Name. And you may know him from his podcast, The Conversation Podcast, where he interviews guests about life, leadership, and loving others well. And so, Adam, thrilled to have you here. I'd love for you, maybe just give us a glimpse into your world. Tell our listeners who you are, life, work, family, podcasting, parenting, all the hats. Give us a little glimpse into your life.
Well, Jenni, first off, huge honor to be on the podcast. I think so highly of you. Every time that I've been near you or even through a screen, my respect for you just grows and grows and grows.
Mutual.
A bit about myself. Born and raised South Dakota kid. Started Embrace when I was 24. Never wanted to be a pastor. Came to Christ later on in high school and went to college for business and marketing. And always thought I'd be the CEO of a company. Well, God has a sense of humor. Filled in for a pastor the summer before my senior year of college. I knew I was supposed to be a pastor that one weekend. So finished my business degree, went to seminary in Asbury, came back against my will, started this church, and it's been just a wild, wonderful, brutal, amazing journey. Married to my wife, Becky, for over 20 years. We got 4 kids. Our oldest is a senior in high school. I just absolutely love my life, and I feel so grateful for every single day. I mean, genuinely, it's just, I unexpectedly lost my brother a couple of years ago, and it's really, really put things in perspective. And so I just feel so grateful for today. And just wanting to do everything I can to live in the moment, which is something I've struggled with for a long, long time, but I feel like I'm slowly figuring out. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Yeah, I love it so much. And just even in that, I think I told you before we started the interview officially, it was like one of the things I appreciate so much about who you are, Adam, is just the joy and how you do show up with that gratitude and just healthy perspective. And again, every time I've engaged with you, I feel like I see that consistently. And I love that. I know watching from afar, I know you went through the hard loss of your brother, and that you used that to actually motivate you to say, how do I show up and appreciate life and show up in healthy way to the people around me. And I think that just oozes out in lots of ways, in the ways I've connected with you. So I know that's not easy. I don't think it's easy.
Yeah.
So I just really appreciate your fight for that perspective and helping model that for us, especially the consistency of the faithfulness of how many years, how old is Embrace now?
Embrace is 18, will be 19 this September.
Yeah. None of us stay in things that long. That's impressive.
And I honestly can't believe that I have. And yet being able to see the faithfulness of God.
That's the thing, right? We want to give up too quickly.
Yeah. And I had a season where I wanted to quit every single day. And now I grieve even the thought of that I almost did on everything that I've missed out. Yeah. And genuinely my most favorite healthy season of our church by far.
Yeah. So good. So good. Well, I just think, again, those stories I feel like are so rare and so unique, but I think a lot of times we miss out on the fruit of faithfulness if we get too impatient with staying the course. And so I feel like you've just modeled that well. And one of the places, you and I've talked about this before, I had the privilege of being on your show earlier this year, but we talked about about culture and the environment and the experience you're creating for your teams. And I know that's something that you've been intentional and purposeful about. Maybe it always hasn't been the obvious thing you were focused on, but in the conversations we've had, I've seen you continue to emphasize, gosh, the health of the team, the health of the environment is so critical to our success in leadership, whether it's a ministry or marketplace. When you had me on the podcast earlier this year, we talked about the importance of self-leadership and that the hardest person to lead is ourselves. Painfully, I feel like I keep learning that lesson over and over. And a big component to leading yourself well is this idea of self-awareness, right? Of like, what do I need to know? What does it look like to be on the other side of me? And so I'd love for you to talk about maybe when did you realize that your own leadership style was shaping the culture, maybe for better or worse, or maybe just talk about that self-leadership journey for you in the years that you've been leading Embrace.
Oh, there's so much I feel like
we could probably spend the whole episode here, couldn't we?
We could. So 2018 will be something that comes up. So 2018 was the hardest year leadership wise. I asked a person to step down. It wasn't a popular decision. I mean, it was horrible. Lost a whole bunch of staff, bunch of people to church. It was brutal. Ouch. So, but before that, so that was where, honestly, hopefully I'm a learning experience for somebody. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait until you go through something that turns your world upside down. Before that, what I would have always said, and I'm just going to be so transparent, open, and I've always been highly insecure. I've been insecure since I was a little boy, fitting in and wanting to be liked.
I get it.
And so because of that, I always downplayed my influence on the team.
Interesting.
I'm one of us.
Yep.
I'm nothing special.
And it feels like the right and humble thing to do as the leader, right?
It does. And so I always downplayed my influence with the team because I'm just like, well, everybody knows that I'm imperfect. I shared in my preaching. I'm really quick to really share openly. Sure. And so I always downplayed, like when I say something, the power behind it. And so I undervalued that because I was just like, well, people can disagree with me and all that. So I really struggled to see that. And also I didn't understand dual relationships. Like a lot of the staff prior to that were close friends. And that's all I saw is like, you're just my friend.
Sure. Yep.
And my very first full-time hire still on staff. He's one of our executive pastors. He's like, Adam, that's true. We're friends, but you're also my boss.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just need to highlight that to you, Adam. You're also my boss.
Like that changes it a little bit.
Well, and I didn't want to hear that. Sure. So I think that led to things. And then I started Embrace when I was 24. when I would hear from the denomination, like kind of who my boss was, it was rarely ever a good thing. For the first 3 years, we were almost closed because we weren't self-sustaining. So I had never, and this isn't a cop out, I had never seen like caring for your team modeled.
Sure. Yeah.
I had to self-care. I had to whatever. So I think that played into it. But how I began the self-awareness journey was 2018 of like, it was impossible to miss. And at first, even as people are walking out of my life, I still couldn't see it. I'm like, I don't understand. I'm not a yeller.
Right.
I think when I picture like an unhealthy individual that has no self-awareness, they're loud, they're brash, they're whatever, they're angry all the time. That's not me. I don't think I've ever yelled.
Sure.
Even like in 18 years, I don't think I'm this loud person. What I do is I wear people out.
Interesting.
And
yeah.
So I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So I couldn't see that. Even when people would tell me, hey, you're kind of moving really fast. Hey, we're kind of overwhelmed. Hey, another campus? Really? Like we just launched 2 of them. I'm not this loud person. I'm not a yeller.
Right.
And so I was like, well, we'll just figure it out. And isn't this fun?
Right. Yes.
And so people tried to tell me and I just wasn't listening. And for me, it took rock bottom for me to see it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, in looking back, people had been telling me over and over and over again. I just couldn't hear them.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, thank you for sharing that and being honest about that. I cringe because I'm like, oh, I've done that. I've done isn't this exciting? Here's the next big thing and let's go. And like, this is going to be awesome. And oh, you're telling me we can't do it? Oh, we'll be fine. You'll be fine. It'll be great. And I thought I could just like, kind of steamroll them through it because I felt like we could, but I was unaware of the toil that they were feeling. And I think that's one of those points of awareness as a leader is we often, especially when you're wired up to be a more senior leader, your capacity likely is a little bit greater. You can run a little harder, a little longer, but that doesn't mean everybody else can run that pace with that same consistency. And to be unaware of that, I guess I just tended to assume everybody could do what I could do. And I had a couple people who stopped me and were like, Jen, you're expecting everybody to operate like you. And that's not healthy. They don't all operate the way you do. And you need to be more aware of that.
Well, and how I would see it too is I would have the conversation, kind of give my pitch on an idea. They would say no. And I was like, okay, that's great. The next day I would have 4 more reasons why that's still a good idea.
Sure.
And I would just slowly wear them out. And so they'd finally say yes, even though they didn't mean it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't know post 2018, what the people on the strategy team started saying to me, Adam, we can do that, but there's a cost. And not a financial cost. Because again, I could figure that part out. I'm like, well, I could meet with these families. I could whatever. Yeah. But there's a cost to our team.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, I think that's what's changed from 2018. Now I'm all ears, almost to a fault, where I lost a little bit of my swagger for a while. Sure. And the team started saying like, no, but you're still our leader. We want you to lead.
Right.
And so, I'm getting ahead of myself, but that was the beginning of my self-awareness journey was that.
That's so good. So you had to transition a key team member. You lost other staff members. Did you do anything else in that season to kind of get a pulse on then who was left and how they felt and just kind of that assessment of, okay, where are we? What's our reality as a team? How did you get your arms around the reality of the culture in that season?
Yeah, so great question. Just to kind of share a little bit more, and this is very unflattering of me. When I let that person go, 10 out of the 14 people who were closest with me left.
Wow.
So just to really share how it looked.
Sure.
And as a result of that, hundreds of people left our church. So, I mean, it was really, really hard. So for me personally, it was everything from counseling to everything.
Yep.
And I chose that. I knew I needed
Good for you.
Just to kind of, I was broken, so struggling with that. There was a couple of different things. My first full-time hire, his name's Travis. He was a campus pastor at that time. And because of that, we had not but he's always been a really big truth teller in my life. So I got closer to him and I needed to hear it again and again and again.
Right.
Of just like, hey, what am I missing? And I mean, he would just be like, Adam, he would say, okay, when you said this in the room, I'm like, oh, really?
Ugh.
And he's like, yeah, it just right now. So for a while, this was brutal for me. I'm an Enneagram 3, and I'm going to be so honest. And we're losing according to, our attendance is. So I'm like, I want to win.
All the metrics are going the wrong way.
Yeah, so I'm trying to flip it the other way, still in my unhealth. And Travis just said, we can't do anything right now. Our team is still broken. And so, it was so hard. And then we got a new campus pastor at our broadcast campus. His name's Brian. And for like a year, he just basically said no to all of my ideas. I'm like, and I knew I couldn't push. He's just like, no. He's like, do you see our staff? There's nothing here. Like, you're barking up the wrong tree. You might want to stop. And so it was just like painful because again, I'm like, let's switch it in a drive and we'll get out of this.
Right.
So it took a year and a half of consistently saying, you can't. So I'm not sure if I'm Jenny, if I'm giving you the right answers. I'm just giving you the real answers.
No, you're giving me the real.
But the team, Travis and Brian were just doing a very good job of presenting the where the team was.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so you need to care for your staff. It's like, okay. Well, I'm good at caring for everybody except my staff at this point.
Sure.
And so I had to learn how to like, hey, how was your weekend? How was your spouse doing?
Yeah.
Hey, that you mentioned that prayer request for your son. How did that test go?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was so weird. I've always been so in tune with caring for people except my own team. And again, I really don't feel it as a cop. I just hadn't seen it modeled.
Sure.
And the vision to tell people about Jesus is the greatest joy of my life.
Yeah.
And yet I had to really struggle with that. So it was through that process of them highlighting again and again and again where I began to realize like, oh, okay. And this staff culture thing is not a thing. It's the most important thing.
So key.
What a tragedy, Adam, if you get to the end of your life and everybody says great things about you except your staff.
Right.
What a failure.
Yeah.
And by the way, you spend a third of your life. I think there's a third of your life at work.
Right. Yeah.
And so you don't want to model Christ to them. And so that really began to just like deeply settle inside of me. And then like the staff is in several other things, culture is what allows the church to reach people for Christ,
That's
your
right.
greatest desire. And so I just began to look at it differently. For me, staff health culture had, I'm going to sound so horrible, it wasn't even on my radar until 2018.
Yeah.
And now it's when the team says, hey, you can do that, but there's a cost, I back away immediately. And that's I'm all ears, and I'm so much quicker to pull one of the two campus pastors aside and say, hey, our executive pastors aside and say, hey, how did I do that?
How'd that land?
How did I land that meeting? Like, here's what I'm kind of thinking. So it's just totally different.
Yeah. I'm curious, how did those two leaders, first of all, thank you for just sharing all of that. And I think, again, so many of us see ourselves in your story. And so your willingness to be vulnerable and honest, because I don't think we're taught that. Like, I was in the corporate world half of my career and then in the ministry world half of my career. And in neither place was culture and the care of the team elevated as a priority. And yet, you know this about me, and you just said it, it is the thing, right? Like without a team that is healthy and thriving, it doesn't matter how great the mission is. It doesn't matter how great our strategies are. Like it's all just quicksand if we don't have a team that's on mission to make that happen. And so I do think it's our greatest responsibility as leaders is to intentionally care for our team. And that, you know, I think sometimes people hear that and they think, oh, it's just kumbaya and make them happy, especially in a very entitled culture that we tend to have right now at large.
Yep.
But it's actually not that. You know what they really want is they want to know, be known, and they want to be connected, which is really, really core and important. They want to be invested in and developed and challenged and given feedback and encouraged. They want to know that there are goals and how they contribute to those goals. So it's not just the kumbaya stuff. It's like, actually, they want, the things that we want as leaders as well, but they do want to be cared and connected and nurtured. And I think we miss it. We go to one extreme or the other, and we miss that culture is really all of those things, being attentive to all of those things.
So true. So true. Even that, what came to mind is even communication wise. I've always been running so fast that I had no time to update anybody on what I was thinking.
Right.
Well, I don't like to not know what's going on.
Completely.
When I even whether it's my house and I find out my kid is doing what, I'm like, hey, are you gonna at what point were you gonna tell your mother and I?
right.
Can we just backtrack this a little bit? And so like simple things like that, honestly, before 2018, it felt like a burden to communicate. It's like, don't you know how busy I am?
Yeah.
I don't have time to communicate.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my gosh, did you hear how that sounds?
Right.
And you hate not knowing what the detail is. So I think it's just that just learning how to value a team and care for a team, and not lip service wise, but genuinely care about them.
Yeah.
And love them and love their families, and realizing if you hope to do any big vision, if your team is not healthy and on board, good luck with that.
Right. Yeah.
So that was huge.
Yeah. That's so good. I'm curious, those two pastors that you talked about that were pretty honest in giving you feedback, I think you said Travis and Brian, right?
Yep.
What made them comfortable being that honest with you?
I think with Travis, just our longevity. So we had a lot of longevity.
Yep.
With both of them, I was so honest about how I was feeling and about how I was doing.
Yeah.
And I began to see after about 6 months, the first 6 months, I couldn't blame internally. I did not speak publicly about anything.
Sure.
Even like something during that time, I just did not. I honored everybody, but internally, I was not honoring everybody. Internally, I was blaming everyone else for what we were going through. And about 6 months in, it began to realize, like, maybe you played a part in this. And then a year in, it's like, maybe you're like the main character.
Oh, no.
and like you're not like a support role, but like you're you're the person. And so I think they could see me on that journey and that openness and willingness and brokenness. I think the brokenness too, like where I think that was helpful. And then I just asked for it.
Yeah. Yep.
I was so hungry to figure it out. Like I was so confused that I was just like, help me. Self-awareness, it's so hard to see.
Completely.
I mean, it's like you're telling me that like everything that you're saying is something totally different than what I can see. So it's just like, so can you tell me that again?
Believe. Yeah.
It's just hard to believe. Yeah.
Because your intention most of the time is like, my intent is not that that's the experience they've had, but so it's super hard to believe that is truly what the team is experiencing or how they're feeling. Because giving us the benefit of the doubt, that's not what we intended, even though we weren't intentional in how we maybe showed up.
Yep. So I think it was just constantly asking, and then the both of them are just very mature, like healthy humans themselves. Travis gave me a copy of Emotionally Healthy Spirituality.
Such a good book.
I read it and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's talking about me. And so like they were just very level-headed, and they cared about the church. I think they just cared about the church, and they cared about me, even if I didn't want to always hear it. So yeah.
Well, and Adam, I know you're being pretty hard on yourself, just honest about the circumstances and the situation. But the fact that you had people around you who had, and I realized a lot had departed, but you still had a couple of them still there who were willing to and committed enough to you to say the hard things, to just give you the honest feedback, is a really big deal, because as leaders, we can tend to isolate ourselves from voices we don't like hearing. And so what would you say to a leader that is maybe feeling those tensions, and our reaction is to just shut out the voices that aren't telling us what we want to hear, and we just go find, new people who will jump on board with what we're excited about? Like, how would you coach us to go, hey, like, listen, don't just shut people out?
Yeah. Self-awareness feels like your worst enemy, but it's actually your best friend that you don't. I mean, it's just like your best friend, your closest confidant. And at first, specifically if you're unhealthy, again, like your worst enemy, they're out to get me. They don't understand. They don't whatever. It's your best friend.
So good.
Best friends say hard things.
Yeah.
Best friends keep saying hard things. And so I just think selfishly, for the sake of your business or church, you want self-awareness. Like just like if you're an Enneagram 3, like, do you want to reach your goals? Like self-awareness. More Christ-like leadership. The second part is self-awareness. Like if you want to be more like Jesus, want to like pursue the heart of God, like self-awareness. So like shallow reason, Jesus reason. But you have to fight for it. You have to keep asking. You're going to want to block it out. And yet if you hear it from several people that genuinely have no axe to grind. Wow. Take note of it.
That's right.
And write it down, and then get really curious with it. We just did, our strategy team just did 360 interviews. And all the staff could anonymously say whatever they wanted to. And we, and our strategy team, we were brutally honest with each other. And it was interesting just to even hear several of them say, I can't see this in myself.
Such a brave thing to say.
It is. And like, help me. Can you give me examples of that? And I just encouraged, I said, I was like, oh, this is so powerful that you'd even say that. And what I've said in certain of our strategy team, when they've seen the self-awareness and they've had a moment of afterwards I pull them aside and just say, hey, the street cred you just got in my eyes and everyone else's eyes by saying that.
That's good.
I'm like, wow, that's gold.
But
I want that for me too. Mine this time was, I always seem too busy. And that was one growth area. And it feels like when I'm in the office, I don't really engage our staff. I'm going through A to B.
Sure.
Thankfully, there was only 2 and there wasn't 26 growth areas. So it was this really encouraging thing. Like, Adam, we love working for Adam, and he's so life-giving. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a miracle. But then to hear those 2 things, like being too busy, I'm like, how do I change that? Like, I feel like I'm constantly behind. And so I processed that with the strategy team a couple of times. And the person who did kind of the gathering information. He's a very wise leadership mentor in my life. I was like, help me. What do I do with that? And so I think it's an ongoing,
that's right,
lifelong journey.
Yeah, that's right. And I love how, and maybe you can speak to this more, but you just gave that example of you guys just did the 360s of like, hey, and which are, I mean, 360s are a vulnerable process. Like there is no way around it. It is a vulnerable process, but it's again, that posture of what might I not know, right? Like what might not be on my radar. I often will tell leaders related to their culture, just presume it's not as good as you think it is. Just like start with that assumption. It's not as good as I think it is, because I guarantee you it's not. Like, and I'm the first one that wants every culture to be amazing, but it is so hard, especially the more senior you are in the organization. It is so hard to get true, honest feedback that actually helps you have a good assessment of what's true so that you can appropriately act on it. So are there other things you guys are doing regularly that just has created this environment of healthy feedback? There can also be environments where people just think, well, now I can just like, throw darts all day long, but like healthy feedback. What do those rhythms look like for you guys?
I think so. The 360, having that, we went through a process called traction. Even we're still, it's been game changing for our church. A part of that is like right seat on the bus, and like so that was a very honest. That was probably a really good first step for us. We started getting momentum out of 2018. Right before COVID hit is when we started to hit our stride again.
Sure.
So we saw some signs of life, so we got into traction, and we had that honest, like, just dialogue and conversation. One of the rocks was my position. Our integrator and one of our executive pastors said, "Can I do a rock where it just figures out what your job is?"
I love it.
And I was like, I feel like I've failed for 18 years. So I would be thrilled to have someone else take a swing at this. And so I think just open traction. Also, you rate so our L10 meeting on Monday, we rate the meeting, which is very, very honest. And so I think that I think just Travis said, he's like, Adam, what's different about you is before you would be quick to speak and now you pause. So I said, really? Sometimes I don't see that I do. And he's like, oh my gosh, you pause all the time. And it's such a gift.
Yeah.
And so I think continuing to ask for it. I also think it's being quicker because of kind of the honest at strategy level, being quicker to say it to another person. Hey, here's something you're not seeing.
Yeah.
And I love you. Like something that's always been true of our culture, is honesty, but you never draw blood.
Right.
I mean, you would be very quickly highlighted if you were hurting. Like if you were trying to hurt somebody. Yeah. No. We don't do that. We respect each other.
That's right.
Like me to anybody to you, we respect each other. So I think that's been huge. Another thing that's been so incredibly helpful is just our work values. So we have 5 work values, and even our vision. I don't know if this is helpful or not, Jenny, but before we would hire a person on character, competency, and chemistry.
Yep.
And then once they came on staff, we'd start to share a little bit who we are.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are we waiting? Like, why don't we tell them before?
That's right.
And so now here's our vision, here's our work values.
Good.
And what I say is like, it's so cool because we're actually living our work values out, and they're actually what they are.
So
there's no hidden ones that you kind of have. It's almost like walking through a landmine field.
Yep.
And you're like, where is the one that you didn't tell me about in the interview? And I'm going to step on it.
Yes.
I love that. It's like, hey,
this is true of who we are.
This is it. Like you'll feel a rub. So I think just that communication's been really helpful, just culture as a whole. But I think just really being honest, and a team that's really honest with me.
It's really big.
So we have 2 executive pastors, Travis and Travis. The other Travis, he is our integrator, and his passion point is staff culture.
Oh, I love it.
And so he's an Enneagram 8, so he's quick to talk, like quick to speak up for the truth.
Yep.
Not quick to talk, quick to speak up for the truth, which I appreciate. And so he'll do that with me.
So good.
Hey Adam, I love that. You're going to lose our team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay. So I think just that honest relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. And again, Adam, I think you've modeled for us, it takes a lot of work on your part as the leader to invite that and create that. And I know, and I'm sure you've had these moments too, where I've had those honest voices and my gut reaction is to not listen to them or like to kind of dismiss whatever they brought to me. And I cannot tell you the number of times where I'll have a leader that will say, hey, I think you might need to pay attention to this. I'm not sure how the team is feeling about this. And I'll be like, oh, and I'll kind of dismiss it. And then a few seconds later, okay, come back, tell me more. Right.
Yes.
Like I have to it's like my conscience gets the best of me. And I'm like, wait, this is not who I want to be as a leader. Okay, wait, come back and tell me more. And when I can do that, then, I know, and I have to apologize for the quick dismissiveness, but then try again. And they lean into it with me, right? Like they're like, they will give me grace for my instincts as a fellow Enneagram 3 who's just like keep plowing and making things happen. And like we have a running joke on our team that a lot of times I just go barreling into the meeting, right? Because I've got all the things that I want to do. And sometimes I'll catch myself and I'll be, oh, wait, good morning, everybody. And I'll kind of laugh because they know when we talk about it. Or they'll be like, well, hey, good morning, Jenny. And, and they'll kind of call it out. And I'm like, that's the imperfect but beautiful part of our culture. Is like we know and understand our imperfections, but we know what we're aiming for together. Like, and
it's great.
That resonates with you. You have a few of those.
Well, I just so much what you said. Like, just to highlight this, self-awareness, so much work.
Oh gosh.
I mean, I'd rather start 3 new campuses than do self-awareness.
It's so true.
I would. It's just like, we're going to talk about this again.
Right.
Again. And internally your voices, they're lazy.
Mm-hmm.
They need to suck it up.
Right.
They're ungrateful.
Oh, yep.
Do you remember when I started this church? I was 24 and I got paid $27,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a break. That's all the voices inside of you.
True.
And it's like, not good. Like, so, it's just so, I'm like, I just want to run. I'm a horse. Let me run. And self-awareness is just like, it feels like the sin that so easily entangles us.
Yes.
I'm like, enough of this. But that's like, it's so important. And then, gosh, so much of what you said, like, even like something Travis, the first full-time hire that I mentioned,
mm-hmm.
he said this last week, he's like, Adam, you get so much buy-in when you just acknowledge. He said, sometimes you'll say, hey guys, and I'm a little bit crazy and I'm a little bit, my term is, what I'll say is I'm like wrestling an alligator at times. And so guys, I know I'm like, he's like, just acknowledging that, everybody's like, okay, he sees it.
Yes. Yeah.
He sees it. And that's not a permission slip to then go burn down villages.
Right.
But I think it's just that pause of like, oh.
Yeah.
And just that grace, that tug of war is so beautiful. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like just even today, I said, like, guys, to the Travis, I'm like, thank you guys so much for, I said, I know I can be prickly at times and I'm just really, really grateful. And then not as a cop-out, being quick to apologize when you see it.
That's right. Yeah.
When you see it and like genuinely not I'm sorry, now let's run 6,000 miles per hour.
That's right.
But I think that, and then the other thing that crossed my mind is asking and pleading with the Holy Spirit to convict you, confront you, be a truth teller, just constantly. Because the goal is to become as much like Jesus. The goal is for Emily, my assistant, both Travis's, for them, like whenever their time is done or my time is done or I retire or whatever, for them to say, oh, I was closer to Jesus because of Adam.
So good.
And he had imperfections. Wow. He had a lot. He had some of those, but let me tell you about what he also modeled to me is he modeled forgiveness. He modeled grace. He inspired me that is the goal. So that's the goal.
That's so good. That's so good. I was going to ask you, my last question was, how would you coach us to keep leaning into self-awareness? But I think you just did.
Yeah. That's
Adam. I could have this conversation with you for hours because I love your the humility in which you acknowledged and accepted, I've got to keep learning and growing as a leader, and I've got to be more intentional and more purposeful to understand the experience it's creating for my team. And I'm just deeply convicted and committed to helping leaders grow in that awareness because it's just so powerful. Like the impact on the organizations, the impact on people's sense of calling, fulfillment, giftedness, etc., is so incredibly important. So again, we could talk for hours, but we need to wrap up for today. How can we connect more with you? What are you excited about right now? You were telling me that you're coaching some pastors and groups. And so I'd love for you to just tell us a little bit more about what you're doing and how we can connect more with you.
Absolutely. One thing I have to say, what's so cool is you can have self-awareness, and then God can bring you into the most wonderful season you've ever experienced. Like you don't have to continue on with how you're currently leading if you're leading in an unhealthy way. Because right now I'm standing in the most life-giving for my soul, for my team's soul season we've ever been in. Where numerically, and it's so weird, really matters nothing to me now. Numerically, we're over double the largest that we ever were pre-2018. We're seeing commitments to Christ that I honestly I get emotional just thinking about just the lives that are being touched. The baptisms taking place. I mean, it's unbelievable. And so you think that living unhealthy or whatever is the way to go. It's not. Like the ways of Jesus are the ways to lead and to see abundant fruit in your life and in the life of so many others. And so I just can't stress that enough. With the coaching and the things, I'm having so much fun in the coaching department. So I'm coaching just pastors from across the country. Mm-hmm. And it's been just an absolute delight getting to pour in and helping them to hopefully have a healthy culture and to run the race well and hopefully touch a whole bunch of people with the news of Jesus. So
that's awesome. Yep. And we can find you. You're just at Adam A. Weber on socials, right? Is that right?
That's right. Yep. Find me there. You can go to my website, adamweber.com. Weber with 1B, and that's where you can find more about coaching, podcast, all those things.
That's perfect. Adam, thank you so much. Thanks for your time and your investment in us as leaders. Thanks for your faithfulness in ministry leadership. And I look forward to the next conversation.
I can't wait. Thanks again for everything, Jenny.
Friends, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with a friend, pass it along, listen to it as a team, and then we will see you next week.